Hey everyone, this is Curtis Carmichael, just a kid from Ohio with Jackpo Marketing. We're in Atlanta, Georgia, the beautiful Swiss Yards Downtown Club. If you haven't been here, please check it out. I'm here with Dean Yarbrough from Yarbrough Financial Services. And I have one quick question. What do you do?
Hi, my name is Dean Yarbrough with Yarbrough Financial Services. My mission is to help my clients make sound financial decisions, avoid making mistakes, and also help them develop strategic plans so that they can achieve their life goals. Good morning. Welcome to Dean's List, where we talk with entrepreneurs who have visions and work on them and are creating successful and vibrant businesses. So we're excited this morning to be speaking with Christian Zimmerman, CEO, Nate Washington, CTO, co-founders of a company called Qoins, one of the fastest growing, app, banking, fine tech companies in the area. Excited to have you both here. My name is Dean Yarbrough. I'm with YFS Planning. I'm a financial planner, an investment advisor. I'm joined today with my co-host, Curtis Carmichael, of Just a Kid from Ohio. And Curtis is our brand strategist.
Brand strategist.
You like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah, you're good with that. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see. Christian and Nate, Qoins company. Why don't we just start off with, tell us about, I don't know who wants to go first, but tell us about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so you did a good introduction.
I probably messed it up. But
you're good. So kind of background on me. I went to Georgia State University, studied business management, graduated in 2015, worked at a couple other startups, and then started Qoins right after graduating. So been doing this for 3 years now.
3 years,
yeah.
And Nate?
Yeah, so I have a technical background, I'm a technical co-founder. First started coding when I was around like 15 or 16, so years and years ago. Also went to school at Georgia State, tried to convince myself that I wanted to do something other than coding. Had no idea what I was thinking. And got back into it probably back in 2014.
Right.
Started a couple companies of my own. Prior to Qoins, a couple apps that got some traction but never really like took off or went anywhere. And then met this guy around 2016, so right after I shut down my second app, was just looking for some contract work to pay the bills, and somehow he convinced me to come on board and work for free for 2 years.
No, that's an investment. Well, tell us what Qoins is, and tell us a little bit about what you do and who you serve.
Yeah, so Qoins, spelled with a Q, so Qoins. People always confuse that. It's not crypto. It's a financial. I get that all the time too. It's a financial wellness app that helps people pay off debt, and does it by combining education and automation. So that can mean a lot of different things, but really focusing on that financial literacy part of how you go about making the right decisions to pay off debts, and then actually automating that process for the consumer so that they don't have to think about it as well.
Okay.
So that's kind of high level what we do. As I mentioned, we've been doing it for live for 2.5 years.
Well, how did you come to recognize that as a problem and something you could try to solve?
It was my own problem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah. All three of us. Yeah. So
We all have those problems.
yeah.
Sign
So
of the times.
at the time was, and we've made like slight pivots here and there. But when I first came up with it, just before I met Nate, I was working at this other startup called Hirewire, and I come up with this idea. And so it was really like I was using Acorns, Capital Digit, all those other different savings apps. And then like if I wanted to use the money, I had to take the money back out and then send it back to myself. And when that happened, I would just go and spend it. So I was like, well, what if there has to be some other app out there that does like automatic payments, not bill pay, but like extra payments. There wasn't anything out there. So I was like, oh, well, that seems like a good opportunity to go and try to build something. And so at the same time, there was this pitch competition. So it kind of just all kind of fell in place at the right time. But at that time, back then, like I wasn't actually necessarily trying to build a product or anything. I'm not a technical founder, so like I didn't really think I could really get it that far. So
Okay, and that's when Nate came in?
yeah. So
He's the technical man. He designed the product that you can go to the website now or Instagram or social media and access it directly. So how do we do that?
Yeah, so you can download it in the iOS App Store,
Okay.
Google Play Store. We started out with a just like a web beta version,
Right.
and then we transitioned over into a mobile app.
Okay.
At some point, we will actually bring back our web version,
Mhm.
but that's probably just a little bit further down the line.
Right.
I wouldn't say I necessarily designed it. I don't really consider myself a designer, so
Okay.
I built it.
You built it.
Our first versions were ugly, and that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah,
If there's a saying that if you wait until everything's polished up perfectly, you've waited too long to launch, right? So we both kind of subscribed to that mindset and just kind of said, all right, let's get the functionality down, let's put it out there, and start getting some feedback from people so we know what they want.
And that feedback's been good, because you're 3 years in now?
Yeah.
How much has the site or the mission changed based on the feedback you've been getting up to this point?
I mean, I think our overall mission has always been the same.
Gotcha.
I just think our approach as to how we go about
Mhm.
tackling that mission has
Yeah.
changed a little bit. So, when we first started, it was a roundup app. So it was like all we did was just round up your spare change to pay off debt, right?
Right.
And then we've quickly found ourselves kind of getting like bucketed to just that one aspect, and then we started creating our own financial literacy content, so that was something that was adding value.
Okay.
And then you started seeing other opportunities as we were kind of starting to grow and build relationships with our banking partner and
Gotcha.
just the people that were kind of well seasoned and
Okay.
vetted in the space. So.
I want to come back and talk about, because that whole idea, collaboration, I think is real important. But Kurt, let me let you jump in.
All right, so as you guys know, I'm like the brand strategist of what he's doing, Yarborough Financial Services, and also what I do with Just a Kid from Ohio Marketing. So I want to get to what you guys are doing. How, because as we all said, we all have problems with student loan relief. I mean,
I don't.
That's why you're the financial planner.
Yeah, that's why he's a financial planner and I'm the brand strategist. I'm trying to figure out ways to solutions. So, my question is, everyone has this problem, but a lot of people are either staying away from even dealing with it, or they just don't know it's a real true problem yet. So how are you guys actually marketing yourself to the people? 'Cause I mean, it's easier to market to the parents, but how do you actually market to that kid that just graduated college, just like, I just need to pay rent, like I can't even deal with a student loan. Like, how are you guys directing to them?
Yeah, so when we started, it was like a direct approach. We were going to like the universities and just like passing out flyers and doing whatever it takes.
That's old school.
Yeah, guerrilla marketing, right?
It works.
It worked, but it was just like very time consuming, right? And then you don't really see the ROIs like return that quickly, right? So you have to be consistent. And so we found was kind of like flipping the script and then trying to actually then partner up with the universities themselves. So that's like a longer process, but if you get your foot in the door, right, there's a larger bucket. So utilizing university systems to then try to see, hey, like these graduating classes, right, it makes sense for you to promote a product that's helping them wanting to pay off loans. You got them all in the same room with the parents talking about this, right? And so at that point, I think it makes the most sense, or the alumni associations, things like that. But right now, we primarily focus on credit cards. So, but obviously, the student loan aspect of everything is something we want to get back to or figure out a way to really tackle.
So you say you're focusing on credit cards right now?
Yeah, primarily.
Okay.
We do any form of revolving debt, so auto loans, mortgages, student loans,
Any
credit
loans.
cards.
Well, I just read yesterday that the number one, debt in the millennial, the studies show, it is credit cards. It's not student loan. That's important. Everybody has it. But the concern seems to be dealing with the credit cards.
Well, it's like a 1-to-1 ratio. Like if you have student loans, you probably have credit card debt.
Right.
And so, we just got off a call today. It said, I guess the parent just found out that their child had like $5,000 worth of credit card and they didn't know it, right? So it's one of those things about like the communication and like, hey, you don't want, it's like a frowned upon thing to have, whereas student loans everyone has, and like you said, you can just push it off and figure it out later.
So another question leading with that is how, because whenever I'm on Qoins, I still don't feel like, things are hitting the fan. Like, you know, when, like, sometimes I'm on different financial websites or something like that, I'm always like, whoa, like, you are messing up. Like, with you guys, I don't feel that way. So how do you guys still keep a very serious topic still lighthearted, still almost fun? Like, hey, this is almost fun for me to, like, get student debt relief off. Like, I know you got, like, when I'm seeing you guys on social media or when I'm seeing you guys on your app, it's still lighthearted. It's still like, we're gonna get through this. So how do you guys keep it lighthearted and fun almost still?
Yeah. So I think part of that ties into the content, and you know, Christian's done a really good job of being the face on a lot of that content and
Trying to get off of
yeah. But we frame it in a way that's fun, right, and funny, because like you said, debt is a taboo topic for a lot of Americans. They're ashamed to talk about it, and we're trying to change the narrative on that and say, like, look, we get it. You know, you owe some money to, you know, whether it's your student loans, credit cards, all that kind of stuff. We all do. Like, it's you know, we're literally talking about, you know, 80+% of Americans that are paying off some form of debt, right? The other half of that too is that about 1 in 2 Americans are not considered financially literate. So, you know, the content kind of focuses on whether it's educating people on certain financial terms, understanding, like, hey, this is your credit score, this is what everything means, this is a soft credit check versus a hard credit check, or even like small little actionable items that you can take advantage of, like in your day-to-day life. Like one of our popular, like, recent videos was how to save money on iPhone cables, right? So like if your iPhone cable gets a little messed up or frayed, you can go to the Apple store, and a lot of times they'll replace it for free, which is something a lot of people don't know, right?
No clue. I just
If I hadn't watched their site, I would not have known that, and I just did that last week.
Yeah.
You returned it, and they did
There
it.
you go.
There you go.
saved like $40 right there.
Yeah, I mean, you know how much Apple costs.
And it's a good one. It wasn't one of these little gangster ones, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
That's what's up. Okay.
That's great. No, that is good.
So other than that, next question, still kind of on the same lines, is how did you guys, was this something like, oh, I want to make sure that all my friends is financially free? Or is this like, I found a niche, I'm taking it over, let's go for it? Was this like your passion, or was it like something that you just found and like, hey, I'm going for it? Or was this like in college, you was like, this is something I might actually like really want to do, is like help, like,
No.
well, like financial
No. Answer's no.
Okay.
I've always wanted to do my own thing. Like, I've done like little things, like nothing in technicals, like on the technology side. So I've always wanted to do my own thing, so that there was that, but not necessarily in this specific realm. But like on the other things that I wanted to do, like I've always wanted to open my own bar, or like things like that, just creative stuff. And like my parents were always like, yeah, if you're gonna do something that's like that's impactful, or like worth meaningful. So like I started thinking about that too, and then when I was working at Hirewire, like, you know, everyone throwing out different ideas, you know, social media platforms, like financial technology tools. So when I was thinking of something, it was like, what is a tool that I would use personally? And then from there, I kind of like expanded on it. But it wasn't anything that I was trying to get like all my friends to use. I actually didn't tell any of my friends until like it was already kind of like beta testing it. Because one of the things that I found is that you tell your friends, they're going to tell you like, oh yeah, like, oh, that's cool, bro. Like, yeah, I'll use it. But they're just being nice. It's not your baby looks nice when it's $5. Right?
still veiny or whatnot.
Right.
There's some ugly babies out there.
So my goal was to actually
Keep that.
was to actually get like true feedback from customers or from people that I didn't know.
Right.
And that's when I started seeing like the real value of the product, rather than just, you know, trying to sell to my friends.
Okay. All right. Well,
That's good. Nate, do you want to add anything on that?
yeah, because I know, like I said, like I was saying off camera, like you and I had a little history from working, from slinging catfish at Papa Dough.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We don't need to promote them.
Yeah, we don't need the promotion. But just going from there, like we already said, like, man, I'm gonna get out of here soon, and you never mentioned I'm gonna do this thing called Qoins. It's gonna be great. But like, just going from there, just to here now, how is that like?
Yeah, so around the time we worked together, I was actually working on my first business, like my first idea. So I was building that kind of just on the side. You know, I would go work all day, like you said, slinging catfish, and then and then come back home and then just kind of like plug right in and just like tunnel vision, like work on what I was building, right? Growing up, I never wanted to start my own business.
Okay.
I didn't really see that as something that was interesting to me because I just didn't think it was like a viable option for me, right?
That's interesting.
You know, I didn't understand what it took to start a business, and you know, I have some older siblings who have like MBAs in their own right, and like they themselves like didn't necessarily start their own business, but they went and got like high paying jobs, right? Like one of my older brothers like used to work at the Pentagon and like stuff like that, and he, you know, for them, like seeing them do that and then kind of just go get like high paying jobs, like for me it was just like, oh, like I'm just gonna work towards a job that's gonna pay me a salary, I'm gonna work for somebody, I'm gonna be happy the rest of my life. But kind of around the time of like 2014 that changed for me. And it's funny, one of the things that actually got me first interested into like what would it be like to start my own business was watching Shark Tank. You know, I started watching Shark Tank around 2014, kind of started binge watching it, and I was like, you know, like all these people are doing this stuff, like maybe this is something that I could do. So, you know, got an idea, started building it, and just kind of went from there. You know, even after you know, kind of shutting down like my first business, I still had the itch. So I knew like, okay, this one didn't work out, but like I want to do this again. Like I want to like find something else
Like
that I could build,
fine-tune
find another problem to solve, right, or something like that. So.
That's good. Yeah.
And then on the topic of Christian too, I would love if we could get a shout out for his clothing line that he used to sell.
Oh, clothing line.
Yeah, because he said he's always had businesses, so like.
Is it still up and running or?
No, I still have all the pages up.
Yeah.
More so it's just a reminder of like what I had done. Like just I don't know, just like a nostalgia to it.
Is it something you could go back to at some point?
No, I wouldn't do that. I always wanted to do like a I don't know, a cool design that's something I would do, like a t-shirt brand, but like not that specifically. Like I always said, at some point it's gonna like all come back around. Whether it's like our Qoins t-shirts, like people ask about like, but now we don't hand them out, and everyone's like wanting them, so creating demand for them. So like things like that. It was just like I wanted to do something like that, and at that time I had no idea what I was doing. Like now I understand like quality and materials and things like that. Inventory, so I know what not to do, but I keep it. I still have inventory still. Like I keep it like actually in my closet, just as a reminder. Like I look at it every once in a while, and like I have like the business cards and everything. But yeah, it's funny.
I just had to put him on the spot for a second.
You got to,
But
right?
you know, I'm hearing a theme. A couple themes here. One, when you guys started your business, or let me say came out of school, there was a whole different horizon for you to look at. I mean, you sound like me. Coming out of school, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to be okay. But we know that in America that changed. There are not a lot of jobs. And we know that millennials, generally speaking, are having to pursue their own career path, which is exciting. And it's creative because not only are you taking the technology that you've learned, and testing it. I love the fact that you guys have both started probably about 6 to 10 companies to get to where you are now. You know, over at Georgia Tech, they have a program now where they have a faculty member who's teaching entrepreneurship. And I've heard him talking about it, explaining the rationale. And he said, what I'm trying to do is teach 300 students a year, or graduate 300 students a year. I know that each person who starts a business, the bulk of them will fail. So I want them to start a business and fail often.
Yeah.
Because once you fail,
You learn.
that fear of failure is gone. Would you attest to that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then he says, what I also know is that once one person starts a company, that usually involves at least 3 people. The founder, the co-founder, if you will, or the number 2 guy, and then some support staff. And so he sells Georgia Tech on it, because this way, if we have 300 students graduating who become proven entrepreneurs, that means there's 900 students that are going to have jobs the day they leave our campus. That's going to give us a competitive advantage in America. So you guys are a part of that, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
You're really doing it. So I want to ask you about the challenges, but I want to also ask you, you've made a huge transition of being solopreneurs to having a company with employees. Let's talk about that a little bit. What are some of the challenges, the goals that you have, the reason why you're bringing other people on board?
Yeah, that's been like the biggest. I think for me was the biggest learning curve.
Really?
Okay. To know, like, all right, like it's one of the most exciting at that time. It's still exciting, but like at that milestone that we were like hiring, and then obviously the most daunting too, because now it's not just my mindset and his mindset, because we pretty much know each other's like in and out, like we understand what we're thinking, right? But with employees, you don't really know, right? You don't know their overall goals, like you know what are they trying to accomplish, and then being able to identify those things and almost push them to those things, and then how can you do that within the company, right? So you know, hiring process that in itself was hard, but Nate had a lot of experience. He had worked at like Chick-fil-A and all these other jobs as a manager, so I was telling him he probably got the best experience there in regards to hiring and managing people. So he took the lead there until I kind of would just sit and watch, or like let him do more of the talking, because I feel like he probably was able there. And so it was just more identifying, you know, pros and cons, like where you know the skill sets can complement what we're trying to do. And then some of the things that you can't see is like what's their motivator, what drives them, like what keeps them going, right? That's, I think, the most difficult thing, because you know a lot of people nowadays are driven by a lot of different things, right? Is it the ability to own equity and grow the company? Is the ability to get the highest paying job that you can get at an early age, right? Is it to be able to move up the ranks as quickly as possible, right? So you don't know that when you first hire someone, right? So it's all about identifying that. I don't know if you want to see.
I was gonna say there's I mean added pressure on us too, right? Because now you're responsible for someone's livelihood, right? And you want to make sure that you get it right the first time, right? We've had to let people go along the way, and it's always it's never fun to do that. And I think you help kind of prevent that by looking at like your hiring process and getting it right early on, right? Because one of the worst feelings in the world is like somebody doesn't work out, and it's like hey, we're gonna have to let you go, and like that like they're literally like depending on like the income to live, right? So it puts additional like pressure and responsibility on us to make sure that we're doing things the right way.
Does it make you feel proud though that you're able to help create jobs and give people a chance to have a livelihood?
Absolutely, yeah. It's one of those things like I don't know who I was talking to maybe a month ago when we were talking about this specific topic, but like around like when you create jobs, you're then becoming almost dependent on the staff, right? But
that's interesting.
Dependent for the staff, but at the same time, you gotta look at it. You can't feel bad too if things like that happen, because that's kind of the natural occurrence of what happens when we're hired. There's gonna be goods and bads, and you just gotta find the good apples. And
Exactly.
the bad apples, you gotta just keep them moving. So
Because one thing, one of my favorites, you guys probably know about Gary Vee. I watched watched a video on him talking about firing. He's talking about how it's one of the most crucial things executives can learn, because you're going to be wasting your time and their time. And like the longer you just hold on, like is they okay? Are they not okay? They could be finding another job because they think it's all hunky dory while you're just like upset. So it's just hearing that you guys have already went through that process, and you guys still have like nobody's upset or anything. Is a nice. It's a good quality to have, I feel like.
Balance.
I think it's always like, I don't think it's ever any easier, or maybe it is, but like it's always something like, it's like when you go to speak, like you're always gonna get nervous up front, like it's just like it's not something you ever want to like think about or talk about, right?
I was just talking about firing today. No, so one of my
it's like breaking up with somebody.
Nobody wants to talk about that.
Let me get straight to the point here.
It's over. No, but one of my last questions is, what are your strengths and weaknesses going into now when it comes to marketing yourself, or what's the next goal on how you guys are going to be marketing yourself in the next 6 months, year and a half? How is it going to be fluctuating from what you guys have done in the past? Because I know you guys have a couple more tools, a couple more resources coming up that you guys are featuring. So how are you guys going to just overall market and brand yourself to not just Atlanta but nationwide, if that could start.
Yeah, kind of to your point, like we're trying to work with people that have experience in the space, or like financial planners, financial coaches, credit counselors, like big organizations that are doing that already. I won't go into the other things, but just at a high level is finding bigger buckets and doing partnerships in that aspect rather than just going directly on a one-to-one. I think once they get into the product, we still want to focus on creating that relationship with the consumer. That's another big focus for us, so that they build a trust. But I think a lot of it still just goes back to building that trust with the consumer and how can we best do that top of the funnel and at the end of the funnel.
Okay.
That's important.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about meeting people's needs. The more you understand the people, the better you're going to be able to offer the service. So that's good. Where do you see this going in 3, 5, 10 years? Are you guys going to do do you want someone to buy you out, or do you want to take this public? What's your vision for the future?
So I say that we probably see like the most likely like exit as an acquisition.
Right.
I think we kind of have an idea in our head of like what companies that would look like.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, it's easy to just say that, but who knows? Like, I mean, is maybe one day getting to like an IPO or something like that out of the question? Maybe not. Who knows? It's a lot can change in a few years, right? So long term, we say that. I think you also said like 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, things like that. We've obviously got the big push on financial literacy and things like that, right? So I'd say some of the key things we want to do now or going forward is increase the amount of debt that we're paying off for our customers. I think we just crossed like $7.5 million or something like
impressive.
that.
That's impressive.
Paid off for customers.
$7.5 million.
Yeah.
Look at the camera on that one.
Dollars.
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 7 with 6 zeros behind it.
That's
So increasing that, and really just becoming like a household name as someone who is helping just like the general like American public and like improve their financial situation, which disproportionately affects minorities, right? So I'm Black, Christian's Hispanic. We both come from communities that don't tend to have like a ton of generational wealth. So we want to be part of the conversation that helps change that. As well as obviously the student loan crisis is a big one now, right? You talk about people like Robert Smith coming in and paying off the entire student debt for a Morehouse graduation class.
Or Pinky from Slutty Vegan, who also did the same. Just
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, she just did the same. So shout out to Slutty Vegan as well.
That's awesome.
Clark or
yeah, he did. She did a couple of the CA like she didn't do a huge class, but it was still like she paid off a good 30. Yeah, it was about 30 students still out there. So
but we want to help try to get to the point to where something like that isn't needed, right?
Yeah,
so
that's huge.
That's one of our goals for sure.
Well, that's good. Well, let's wrap it up. Our time's just about up. We appreciate that, the time that you've given us. Let's do this. Why don't you guys, just one last thing. Based on what we've talked about today, think about the guy that's watching this show. What's the one thing you want someone to take away from where you are, what we've talked about today?
I'd say I think it's pretty simple, but like always be learning. Like I don't think you ever hit your peak, right? So if you can constantly be pushing yourself, you can opening doors, right? You never really know what you're capable of until you start pushing those boundaries. But that it takes you to constantly be learning and iterating.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Nate?
I'd say for me it would be to not be afraid to ask for help, right? I can obviously like plug Qoins and say like Qoins can help you do this and that, but I think just from like a broader perspective, I've had financial troubles in my life. We talked earlier about how we all have like debt, and I made some stupid decisions with credit cards when I was younger, and part of it for me was I was afraid to talk about that kind of stuff and ask for the help that I needed, because I was kind of ashamed of it, or I didn't want to feel like I was being a burden or something like that. So I would say, you shouldn't be afraid to talk about it. You might not always get money from people to help you, and that's not always what you need, but
That's true,
they
yeah.
may be able to help you in other ways, point you in a direction of something that can help you get back on track.
Wow, that's good. So keep learning and don't be afraid to ask for help. Those
Yeah.
powerful messages right there from guys who've experienced it. They know what they're talking about.
Yeah, don't be so prideful.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to close it out, Curtis?
Yes, well, once again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Qoins. Thank you, Christian. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Jabari from Innovative Black Station. This was another Dean's List. You can find me at A Kid from Ohio, and also you can find me at Brother Carmichael. That's my personal page. This is Just a Kid from Ohio, Jack for Marketing, and this is my guy.
Dean Yarbrough of YFS Planning. And on my social media, I am now at YFS. Well, I should say YFS Planning is social media, but my website, how's that, is yfsplanning.com. I'm still getting that worked out.
And last,
So I'm sorry?
I was just making sure. Please check out Qoins, the app.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know most of you guys, I know all of you are in debt at some point in fashion. So check out Qoins, please.
Qoins.io.
Qoins.io,
Qoins.
yes.
Spelled QOINS.
Boom.
And if you want to learn more about this group and what we're doing at the two companies here, feel free to reach out to us at our websites. And if you're interested in maybe looking at how to build your business or develop a more effective marketing strategy, or just want to let your story be told, let us know. We'd love to talk with you.